Okay, so given the current quarantine situation because of the coronavirus, here's your minutely reminder to stay safe and wash your hands and cough into your elbow. I've had a bit more time to work on YouTube stuff. So today I thought I'd take this chance to review a film I've been wanting to talk about for a while, the Best Picture winner, Parasite. This isn't the most in-depth video you'll find about this film. There is so much you can dive into with this movie. This is a bit more of a mini review, because I've been wanting to talk about my thoughts on this film for weeks now since I saw it. So, let's get into this. Also, spoilers, huge spoilers, do not watch this video if you have not seen Parasite. All of the spoilers ahead. Alright, where to even start with this? I had an interesting experience with this film, because when I came out of it, I hated it. Not because it wasn't well made, but specifically because it was so well made that when it's supposed to be incredibly tense, it very successfully was. In the same way that I don't enjoy watching horror films, I did not enjoy the experience of watching most of this movie in the cinema at the time, because it was very effective in making me feel uncomfortable and on edge. I did think it was a fantastic movie, but I was a bit shell-shocked initially by it. Since then, having let it sink in more, I absolutely love it as a film, on top of it being incredibly well made. After thinking about it more and all the different elements of it that make it so fantastic and memorable, on repeat viewings, I think I would enjoy it much more as I was watching it, but I gotta say, when I came out of that cinema, I was hit pretty hard by this. This film is so well crafted. It's a film that feels like every second of it was intricately planned to be as meaningful and purposeful as possible, but also does it in a way that feels effortless. There are many films where you can tell the filmmaker is trying to show off how clever they're being, or were being in setting certain things up. In this film, it's so natural, and it kind of keeps hitting you in waves after you've seen it. I'm not just talking about the insane amount of detail that went into the film that foreshadows stuff, or visually tells the story, or other pieces of symbolism. Which, by the way, there are a ton of videos and articles about those I recommend checking out, because it's crazy how much detail was paid attention to here. But I also just mean in terms of character, in terms of story, in terms of themes, everything is so purposeful, and yet the film takes turns that you're not expecting. In terms of setup, conflict resolution, everything is like a perfectly planned puzzle, and that just impressed the hell out of me. The cinematography and camera work are brilliant, it's a beautifully shot film, and similarly to the writing, it feels incredibly purposeful. Almost every shot is either designed to visually tell part of the story, or communicate the emotion that's meant to be felt as effectively as possible. The one that sticks with me is the long unbroken shot of going down the secret basement stairs for the first time, that adds so much to the tension. The editing is also fantastic in terms of visual storytelling. I mean, there are 10-minute videos on YouTube that break down just like 40 seconds worth of the film, in terms of how editing aids the story being told and the character development. The performances in this film are all phenomenal, and the characters are great. It's interesting that some of these characters seem cartoonish and realistic at the same time, in a way that really fits this film's realistic yet surreal tone, which is a credit to the actors. The writing for these characters is also very well done and layered. How you dislike certain characters one minute and feel sorry for them the next. You dislike and like most of the characters at different points in this film, because they're so far from one-dimensional. Most of them are layered in interesting ways, and there are fascinating moral lessons and themes in here about where people draw the line for what is morally acceptable or justifiable, given the situation they're in. Again, it's all very intricate, but all compacted into the film masterfully in a way where it doesn't feel overstuffed. The film is also consistently creative and unpredictable. Even elements that are slightly predictable have twists and turns in them that you'll never see coming. The themes in the film about the contrast between the rich and the poor are also very well done. Just one example being the contrast between how the storm affects their respective lives, the nonchalant way the rich family views it compared with the horror it creates for the Kims. And above all, it's incredibly entertaining, engaging, memorable, emotional. It just stays with you. It doesn't feel like a methodical, emotionless puzzle that's specifically designed just to be clever, but doesn't make you feel anything. It is very clever, but also invokes such strong emotions. The atmosphere is absolutely spectacular. The direction, the writing, the characters, and the music all contribute perfectly to the atmosphere and to this film being a blend of multiple different genres, but never feeling tonally inconsistent. The film is funny and very dark, and those tones don't really clash because in some of the darker moments, there is often some element of dark comedy to it, and in the more comedic moments, there oftentimes is an underlying uneasiness or unpleasantness to it. It's excellently executed, as are the genuinely more serious dark moments of the film. In terms of the horror, I saw a tweet that said Parasite is the scariest non-horror film ever, and I would very much have to agree with that. Between the more subtle terrifying stuff and the more obvious horror stuff, I would say this film really excels at building up tension and being unsettling. The whole housekeeper returning scene is incredibly creepy, and something I appreciated was the subversion of expectations in smaller ways. Like when she goes down to the basement, I thought she was gonna have a weapon, or there'd be a dead body, or I don't know, something. Point is, the last thing I was expecting her to be doing was trying to move a shelf by pushing herself off the wall, and that subversion added to the feeling of unease. And then, the famous ghost flashback. Genuinely, I have never felt when watching any other movie the extreme feeling of, genuine dread or terror that I felt watching that scene. I can't really explain it. It felt a bit like a feeling of terror you get in a really bad nightmare, except I was awake, and in the cinema. The shot on its own isn't the worst thing in the world. I actually saw the screenshot with no context on Twitter a few months before I saw the film and thought, okay, kinda creepy, I guess. But in the context of the film and that scene, from the perspective of the child, the shot itself, the way all the audio cuts exactly at that moment and it's just rain in the background, how creepy that basement entrance already is with its darkness, the way the face slowly emerges, and yeah, the face itself is also pretty creepy. It wasn't even a jump scare. It didn't surprise me into being scared. It was genuinely just so unsettling and creepy. And like I mentioned at the start, I think from that moment on I started not enjoying, not the film I guess, but being in that cinema, because the movie has never evoked that specific emotion in me so strongly before. Also want to say, some spectacular visual effects here as well. You don't really notice it at the time because you're so invested in the film's world and everything looks real, but something like that rain scene is visually extremely impressive and flawless, and seemingly all practical. Can't imagine how you would go about creating a scene like that. And again, just a testament to this film that something so amazing isn't even something that pulls you out of the film, because A, the story is so engaging, and B, it's so well integrated into the film and masterfully done from a visual effects standpoint. So in conclusion, Parasite is fantastic all around. This is a movie where even one small aspect of it could be explored at length. But in this little mini review, I just wanted to sum up my overall feelings on the film. It is a hell of an experience watching it. It's excellently made, fascinating, dark, funny. Just watch it if you haven't. Which, if you're at this point in the review, I would hope you have. I haven't done this in a while, but I think it might be time. I'm giving Parasite a 10 out of 10. Given how many emotions it made me feel, how much it stuck with me, and just how amazing it is as a film, I can't not give it that. So, those are my thoughts on Parasite. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.